The war room on the Galactic Council station was filled with panic. 12 different alien species sat around the large metal table, and every single one of them looked terrified. Commander Zekthor stood at the center, his blue skin darker than usual from stress. His forearms moved quickly across the control panel as he showed the latest battle reports. "We have lost another 3 colonies, Zekthor said, his voice heavy with defeat. The Krell swarm destroyed them in less than 6 hours. Our fleets could not hold them back. The council members whispered among themselves. Some looked at the floor. Others stared at the holographic display showing the Krell advance. The bioships moved like a plague across the star map, consuming everything in their path. "How many ships do we have left?" asked Council Leader Mertana, her silver eyes reflecting the red warning lights. 40% of our original strength, Zekthor replied. Maybe less. The Krell are attacking faster than we can count our losses. 3 years. That's how long they had been fighting. 3 years of watching the Krell destroy planet after planet. The Council had been so confident at first. They had technology. They had shields. They had energy weapons that could burn through solid metal. But the Krell just kept coming. For every bioship they destroyed, 10 more appeared. "We need to send out a distress call," Zekthor said, "to everyone. Every species in the galaxy, even the ones we normally do not contact." "You mean the primitive sectors?" Mertana asked. Zekthor nodded. "Yes, all of them. We have no choice." The Council voted quickly. They all agreed. When you are drowning, you grab any hand that reaches for you, even if you once thought that hand was too dirty to touch. Zekthor programmed the message himself. He kept it simple. The Galactic Council was under attack. They needed military help. They needed it now. Anyone who could fight should come to these coordinates. He added all their tactical data, showing just how bad things were. The message went out across every known frequency. It traveled through hyperspace relays, through deep space beacons, through ancient communication networks that had not been used in centuries. It reached advanced civilizations and primitive worlds alike. One of those worlds was Earth. Admiral Jake Morrison was drinking coffee in his office at United Earth Defense Command when the alert came through. The computer screen lit up with incoming data. He set down his cup and leaned forward, reading the message with growing interest. "Get me the senior staff," he said into his communicator. "Right now." 20 minutes later, the conference room was full. Captain Ryan Carter sat to Morrison's right, his young face serious as he read through the data. Commander Amy Patterson stood by the window, her arms crossed. Colonel Brandon Hughes paced back and forth, unable to sit still. Dr. Nicole Spencer was already running calculations on her portable computer. "The Galactic Council," Ryan said slowly. "They're asking us for help." "The same council that rejected our membership application 15 years ago," Amy added, her voice cold. "The same council that called us too violent, too primitive, too focused on weapons and war." Morrison nodded. He remembered that day very well. Earth had sent its best diplomats. They had offered technology, resources, and friendship. The council had looked at humanity's military and called them barbarians. They said civilized species did not need so many weapons. They said Earth could apply again in a few hundred years after humans learned to be peaceful. The rejection had stung. But it had also taught Earth a valuable lesson. If the galaxy would not respect them through diplomacy, then Earth would become so strong that respect would not matter. "How bad is their situation?" Brandon asked. Nicole looked up from her computer. "Very bad. The Krell have destroyed over 50 systems. The Council has lost 60% of their military. At current rates, they will be completely overrun in 3 months, maybe less. Can we reach them in time?" Morrison asked. "Yes," Nicole said. "If we use the new dark matter engines, we can be there in 3 weeks." The room went quiet. Everyone knew what this meant. Earth had spent 15 years building a war fleet in secret. They had developed weapons the galaxy had never seen. They had trained soldiers for combat scenarios that the peaceful Council species could not imagine. And they had done it all while being ignored by the rest of the galaxy. "What do you think, Jake?" Ryan asked. "Should we help them?" Morrison stood and walked to the large window. He looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, billions of beings were dying. The Council had been arrogant and dismissive. But did that mean Earth should let them die? "My grandfather used to tell me a story," Morrison said, "about a man who fell into a river. He was drowning. Another man stood on the shore. The drowning man had once insulted him, called him worthless. The man on the shore had a choice. He could let him drown as payback, or he could save him and be the better person. What did he do? Amy asked. He saved him, Morrison said, because that's what humans do. We save people even when they don't deserve it. He turned back to face his officers. The council dismissed us. They called us primitive, but they were wrong. Our strength, our weapons, our focus on military power, it was not barbaric. It was necessary. We understood something they did not. Peace only exists when good people are strong enough to defend it. Brandon stopped pacing. So we're going. Yes, Morrison said. We're going. But not because they asked. We're going because it's the right thing to do. And when this is over, the galaxy will know exactly what humanity is capable of. Ryan smiled. Operation Silent Thunder? Operation Silent Thunder, Morrison confirmed. The plan had been ready for 5 years. Earth's entire war fleet would launch from the dark side of the moon. They would use stealth technology to avoid detection. No bright engine trails. No loud hyperspace signatures. They would move through space like ghosts, arriving at the battlefield before anyone knew they were coming. I'll contact the president, Morrison said. Get your ships ready. We launch in 48 hours. The officers left quickly, each one moving to prepare their units. Morrison sat alone in the conference room for a moment. He thought about what was coming. The Krell swarm had destroyed 50 systems. They had beaten the Council's advanced technology. They probably thought they were unstoppable. They had never fought humans before. Morrison opened a secure channel to President Ashley Morgan. Her face appeared on the screen. She already knew what he was going to say. She had seen the distress call too. We have to go, Morrison said simply. I know, the president replied. The council rejected us, but we are better than them. We will show them what humanity really is. This will change everything, Morrison warned. Once the galaxy sees our fleet, sees our weapons, they will never look at Earth the same way again. President Morgan nodded. Good, let them see. Let them know that when they called us too violent to join their peaceful galaxy, they made a mistake. Let them know that when darkness came, it was humanity that answered. Not with words, but with action. Morrison saluted. We'll bring them home, ma'am. All of them. I know you will, Jake. Good hunting. The screen went dark. Morrison stood and walked back to the window. In 2 days, the largest war fleet in human history would launch into the void. The Galactic Council would be watching their sensors, hoping for help. But they would not see Earth's ships coming. The fleet would travel in silence, using routes no one else knew existed. And when they arrived, the Krell swarm would learn what 12,000 years of human warfare had created. The galaxy had ignored Earth for too long. That was about to change. Morrison finished his coffee. It was cold now, but he drank it anyway. There was work to do, a fleet to launch, a war to win, and a galaxy to save. The dark side of Earth's moon had become the staging ground for humanity's greatest military operation. 200 warships floated in formation, their hulls painted black to absorb light instead of reflecting it. No running lights showed. No radio chatter filled the void. The fleet waited in complete silence. Captain Lisa Brennan sat in her fighter cockpit, running through pre-flight checks for the 3rd time. Behind her, 200 more fighters sat ready in the carrier's bay. She had trained her pilots for 5 years. They knew every maneuver, every formation, every attack pattern. Now they would finally use that training. All systems green, her co-pilot, Lieutenant Danny Rodriguez, said from the seat behind her. Engines running cold. Stealth coding active, Lisa nodded. The stealth coding was Dr. Nicole Spencer's masterwork. It bent sensor waves around the ships, making them invisible to almost any detection system. Combined with the dark matter engines that left no energy trail, Earth's fleet could move through space like a shadow. Nervous? Danny asked. Excited, Lisa replied. We have been preparing for this our whole careers. First real combat against an alien threat. On the bridge of the UED's Thunderstrike, Admiral Jake Morrison watched the countdown timer. 2 hours until launch. Around him, officers worked at their stations with calm efficiency. Commander Greg Watson monitored the electronic warfare systems. Major Kyle Davis coordinated with the Marine landing units. Everyone knew their job. Status report, Morrison ordered. All ships report ready, his executive officer, Captain Ryan Carter, said. Dark matter engines are charged. Stealth systems active across the fleet. Marine units loaded and secured. Fighter wings prepped for launch. Morrison nodded. And our route? Commander Patterson's scouts have confirmed the path, Ryan said. We will use the unmapped hyperspace lanes. No one else knows these routes exist. We will bypass all Council sensor networks and emerge in the combat zone undetected. Commander Amy Patterson's work had been crucial. For 3 years, her stealth ships had mapped secret routes through hyperspace. The Council's navigation charts showed the major lanes, the safe routes that everyone used. But Patterson had found the gaps, the dangerous shortcuts that required precision and courage. Her routes would cut weeks off the journey. Receiving final authorization from Earth Command, the communications officer said. President Morgan is on screen. The large view screen flickered to life. President Ashley Morgan sat in the Oval Office, the Earth visible through the window behind her. She looked tired but determined. Admiral Morrison, she said, the authorization codes have been transmitted. Operation Silent Thunder is approved. You have full command authority. Understood, ma'am, Morrison replied. The world is watching, Jake, the president continued. 20 billion people know you are leaving today. They know you are going to help a council that rejected us. Some think we should let them fight their own battle. But I believe, and you believe, that we are better than that. We will not let you down, Morrison said. I know you will not, the president said. When you arrive, show them what humanity can do. Show them that they were wrong about us, but also show them mercy. Be the example they could not be. The screen went dark. Morrison turned to face his crew. All hands, this is Admiral Morrison, he said, his voice carried to every ship in the fleet. In 15 minutes, we launch. Our mission is clear. The Krell swarm is destroying the Galactic Council. Billions of civilians are dying. The Council once rejected us, called us too violent for their peaceful galaxy. They were wrong. Our strength, our weapons, our military power, these things do not make us barbaric. They make us capable of protecting those who cannot protect themselves. He paused, letting his words sink in. We will travel in silence. We will arrive undetected. And when we strike, we will show the galaxy what 12,000 years of human warfare has taught us. We fight not for glory. We fight not for revenge. We fight because it is right. All ships prepare for launch. The countdown reached 0. 200 warships engaged their dark matter engines simultaneously. There was no flash of light, no burst of energy. The ships simply faded from existence, slipping into hyperspace like ghosts. One moment they were there, the next they were gone. The fleet moved through the secret routes that Commander Patterson had mapped. Normal hyperspace looked like streaks of blue and white light. This path looked different. Dark tunnels of folded space, barely stable, dangerous to navigate. But they were fast and completely hidden from any sensors. Captain Ryan Carter stood on the bridge of the UEDS Valiant, watching the dark tunnel flow past. His destroyer led a battle group of 20 ships. They would be the main attack force, using their railguns to punch through enemy armor. How long until we reach the first waypoint? He asked. 6 hours, his navigator replied. Then we will need to drop out and recalibrate before the next jump. Ryan nodded. The journey would take 3 weeks, broken into multiple jumps. Each jump required careful navigation. One mistake and a ship could be torn apart by the unstable hyperspace. In the carrier bay, Lisa Brennan gathered her squadron leaders for a briefing. 12 pilots sat around the table, their flight suits already on. She pulled up holographic displays of Krell bioships. This is what we will be fighting, she said. The Krell do not use metal ships. They grow them. Living vessels with organic armor and biological weapons. Our intelligence says they are fast but vulnerable to kinetic weapons. How vulnerable? One pilot asked. Very, Lisa said. Their armor regenerates from energy weapons, but kinetic rounds punch right through. Our railgun rounds should be extremely effective. The key is speed and accuracy. We hit hard, we hit fast, and we do not give them time to adapt. What about their numbers? Another pilot asked. Reports say they swarm. They do, Lisa confirmed. But they also fight without complex tactics. They rely on overwhelming force. We will use formations and coordination, quality over quantity. The pilots nodded, confident despite the odds. They had trained against simulation after simulation. They were ready. Dr. Nicole Spencer worked in the science lab on the Thunder Strike, making final adjustments to the fleet's weapons. She had spent 10 years developing technology specifically for alien combat. The railguns fired tungsten rounds at incredible speeds. The nuclear missiles were designed to work in space. And her newest creation, the electromagnetic pulse bombs, could disrupt biological systems. "Doctor," her assistant said, "the Admiral wants to see you." Nicole made her way to the bridge. Morrison was studying tactical displays when she arrived. "You wanted to see me?" she asked. "I need to know our weapons will work," Morrison said bluntly. "We are betting everything on technology the Council dismissed as primitive." "They will work," Nicole said confidently. "The Council uses energy weapons because they think kinetic weapons are outdated. But kinetic weapons have advantages. No energy signature to track. No shields can stop them, just raw force and momentum. And the Krell bioships? Perfect targets," Nicole said. "Their organic armor is designed to absorb and dissipate energy. But kinetic rounds will tear right through, and the electromagnetic pulses should disrupt their nervous systems. I estimate we will be 50% more effective than Council weapons." Morrison smiled. "Good. Make sure every ship knows how to use them properly." The fleet continued through hyperspace. Commander Amy Patterson's stealth ship scouted ahead, jumping in and out to check for any threats. They found none. The routes were clean and empty, exactly as planned. Days passed. The crew settled into a routine: training exercises, equipment checks, tactical planning. Colonel Brandon Hughes ran his Marine units through close combat drills, preparing for possible boarding actions. Major Kyle Davis practiced coordinating fighter squadrons with capital ship attacks. On the 7th day, the fleet reached the halfway point. They dropped out of hyperspace in an empty star system to recharge engines and make repairs. The crews worked quickly, knowing they needed to stay hidden. Lieutenant Danny Rodriguez conducted reconnaissance on nearby systems. His scans showed evidence of Krell activity: destroyed stations, dead planets. The swarm had already passed through this sector. "They leave nothing behind," he reported to Lisa. "Every planet they touch is completely stripped of resources." "Then we make sure they do not touch anymore," Lisa said. "Admiral." Morrison called a command meeting. All senior officers gathered via secure video link, each one appearing as a hologram around the conference table. "We are 2 weeks from the combat zone," Morrison said. "Once we arrive, there will be no time for second thoughts. The Krell will outnumber us. The Council will be shocked by our appearance. We need to be ready for anything." "What about the Council's forces?" Ryan asked. "Will they shoot at us thinking we are enemies?" "Commander Patterson will handle first contact," Morrison said. "Her stealth ships will approach the Council fleet directly. She will identify us and request coordination. By the time they realize we are there, we will already be in position." "And if they refuse to coordinate?" Amy asked. "Then we fight alone," Morrison said simply. "We are not here for permission. We are here to stop the Krell." The meeting ended. The fleet recharged and jumped back into hyperspace. The dark tunnels swallowed them again, carrying them toward war. Back on Earth, President Morgan addressed the world. Billions watched as she explained what was happening. The fleet was on its way. In 2 weeks, they would arrive at the battlefield. The galaxy would finally see what humanity could do. People gathered in streets and homes. They watched the stars, knowing their sons and daughters, their brothers and sisters, were out there in the darkness. Some prayed. Some hoped. All of them believed. The fleet raced through hyperspace, silent and unseen. 200 ships carrying humanity's answer to the galaxy's plea for help. The Council had called them too primitive. The Krell would soon learn otherwise. Ahead lay war. Behind lay Earth. And between them, Admiral Jake Morrison and his fleet moved through the void like a promise kept in darkness. Commander Zekthor watched another planet die on his view screen. The Krell bioships swarmed over the colony like insects, their organic weapons tearing through the defense stations. 3 billion civilians lived on that world. Now they were screaming for help that would never come. "Pull back our remaining ships," he ordered, his voice hollow with defeat. "We cannot save them." The Council fleet retreated, leaving the planet to its fate. They had no choice. Every ship they lost meant less protection for the core worlds. The strategic decision made sense, but it still felt like betrayal. "How many ships do we have left?" Council leader Murtana asked from the command station. 140 capital ships, Zekthor replied. "Maybe 300 smaller vessels. We are down to 35% strength." "And the distress call? Any responses?" Zekthor checked his console. 17 species have sent messages of support. None have sent ships. The humans said they would help, but that was 3 weeks ago. We have heard nothing since. Mertana's silver eyes dimmed with sadness. They are not coming. No one is coming. We are alone, she was right. The galaxy had abandoned them. The Council had ruled for 10,000 years, keeping peace through diplomacy and trade. But when war came, when real violence threatened them, no one wanted to fight. The peaceful species they had protected now hid in fear. The humans were probably being kind, Zekthor said, offering false hope to make us feel better. Their fleet is small, primitive. They could not make a difference even if they tried. He did not know that 5 days ago, Earth's fleet had arrived, and they were watching. The UEDS Thunderstrike sat hidden in the shadow of a dead star, its stealth systems making it invisible to every sensor in the system. Around it, 200 warships maintained perfect silence. Not a single transmission. Not one engine burn that might give away their position. On the bridge, Admiral Jake Morrison studied the tactical display. His officers had mapped every Krell ship, every movement pattern, every attack formation. They had been watching for 5 days straight, learning everything about their enemy. Analysis, Morrison said to Dr. Nicole Spencer. Nicole pulled up her data. The Krell use swarm tactics. They overwhelm defenders with numbers. Individual bioships are not particularly strong, but they coordinate through some kind of hive mind. When one ship learns something, they all learn it. Weaknesses? Several, Nicole said, highlighting sections of the display. First, their organic armor regenerates from energy damage, but it cannot handle kinetic impacts. Our railguns should be devastating. Second, they rely on biological neural networks. Electromagnetic pulses will disrupt their coordination. Third, they have no real tactical flexibility. Once they commit to an attack pattern, they do not adapt quickly. Morrison nodded, processing the information. What about their command structure? There, Commander Greg Watson said, pointing to 3 larger bioships at the center of the Krell formation. Those are command vessels. They coordinate the swarm, take them out, and the rest will lose cohesion. Captain Brennan, Morrison said into his communicator. Are your fighters ready? Lisa Brennan's voice came back immediately. Ready and eager, sir. We have been sitting still for 5 days. My pilots want action. Patience, Morrison said. We strike when the moment is perfect, not before. Down in the stealth ship bay, Commander Amy Patterson was running final checks on her infiltration team. 5 small ships, each one designed to slip through enemy sensors like they did not exist. Her mission was critical and dangerous. You all know the plan, she said to her 4 team leaders. We approach the Council fleet directly. We identify ourselves. We provide them with our tactical data. Then we get out before the Krell notice. Lieutenant Danny Rodriguez raised his hand. What if the Council shoots at us? They will not, Amy said. Their sensors will barely detect us. By the time they realize we are there, we will already be transmitting identification codes. Besides, they are desperate. They need any help they can get, the team nodded. They climbed into their ships and launched silently from the bay. 5 small vessels moving through space like whispers in the dark. Back on the planet Zerathos, billions of civilians watched the sky with fear. Krell ships had been spotted at the edge of the system. Everyone knew what that meant. The swarm was coming, and the Council fleet could not stop them. In the command center, Zekthor prepared for the final battle. This was where they would make their stand. 6 billion lives depended on the 140 ships he had left. Sir? His sensor officer said suddenly. I am detecting something strange. What is it? A transmission. Very faint. It just appeared on our secure channel. From whom? It says Earth, sir. But that is impossible. We would have detected their arrival. Zekthor felt his heart beat faster. He opened the transmission. A human face appeared on the screen. Female, young, with short dark hair and determined eyes. This is Commander Amy Patterson of the United Earth Defense Fleet, the human said. We received your distress call. We are here to help. Where? Zekthor demanded. We detect no fleet. Our sensors show nothing. That is the point, Amy replied. We are here. We have been here for 5 days. We have been watching and learning. Check your tactical display. We are sending you data now. Zekthor's console lit up with information. Detailed scans of every Krell ship in the sector. Movement patterns. Weakness analysis. Attack strategies. The data was more complete than anything the Council had gathered in 3 years of fighting. How did you get this? Zekthor asked in amazement. We have been studying them, Amy said. Humans are very good at studying our enemies. Now listen carefully. The Krell are going to attack Zarathos in approximately 18 hours. They will come with 300 bioships. Your fleet cannot stop them alone. We know, Zekthor said bitterly. We will do what we can, but we will lose. Not this time, Amy said. Admiral Morrison has a plan. When the Krell attack, position your ships in a defensive sphere around the planet. Hold that formation no matter what. Trust us. Why should we trust you? Zekthor asked. The Council rejected Earth. We called you primitive. Amy's expression did not change. Because we are here anyway. Earth remembers the rejection. But we also remember what it means to need help. We are here, Commander. You will see us when it matters most. The transmission ended. Zekthor sat in silence, trying to process what he had just heard. Earth's fleet was here, invisible, watching, waiting. Should we tell the Council? His officer asked. Yes, Zekthor said slowly. But I do not think they will believe it. He was right. When he reported the contact to Council Leader Murtana, she was skeptical. The humans are here? An entire fleet? And we cannot detect them? They sent us tactical data, Zekthor said, forwarding the information. Look at this. It is more detailed than anything we have. Murtana studied the data. Her skepticism faded slowly. If this is real, if they really are here, then maybe we have a chance. They said to form a defensive sphere when the Krell attack, Zekthor said. They have a plan. Then we will do it, Murtana decided. We have nothing to lose. If the humans are truly here, we will see them soon enough. Back at the Hidden Fleet, Admiral Morrison gathered his command staff. The final briefing before battle. The Krell will attack in 18 hours, he said. They will bring 300 bioships. The Council fleet will position themselves in a defensive sphere around Zarathos. That is when we strike. Captain Ryan Carter studied the tactical plan. We will decoke simultaneously, surrounding the Krell formation. They will be caught between us and the Council fleet. Exactly, Morrison said. Captain Brennan, your fighters will launch first. Target the command ships. Take them out in the first 60 seconds. Lisa nodded. Understood. Fast strike, maximum damage. Commander Watson, Morrison continued. Your electronic warfare teams will jam their communications the moment we appear. Cut the hive mind apart. Make them blind and confused. Already programmed, Greg confirmed. The moment we decoax, we hit them with everything. Colonel Hughes, Morrison said. Your Marines will stand by. If any Krell ships survive and drift close, board them. We need to know more about their technology. Brandon Hughes grinned. My people are ready for close quarters. Morrison looked around the table at his officers. Good people. Brave people. Ready to fight for beings who had once rejected them. One more thing, he said quietly. When we appear, the galaxy will see us for the first time. Really see us. They will see our weapons, our tactics, our strength. The Council will realize they were wrong about humanity. Make sure we give them a show worth remembering. The officers smiled. They knew what he meant. This was not just about winning. It was about proving Earth's worth to a galaxy that had dismissed them. The next 18 hours passed slowly. Crews performed final checks on weapons and systems. Lisa Brennan walked through the fighter bay, inspecting each craft personally. Ryan Carter ran simulations with his destroyer group, practicing their firing patterns. Greg Watson tested the jamming equipment one last time. Lieutenant Danny Rodriguez and his reconnaissance team planted the final tracking beacons on Krell supply ships. Small devices that would feed targeting data to every human vessel. The Krell never noticed the tiny objects attached to their hulls. Sergeant Megan Walsh armed the explosives she had placed along Krell supply routes, remote detonators, ready to cut off reinforcements at the critical moment. The preparations were complete. Earth's fleet sat in darkness, watching and waiting. On Zarathos, civilians huddled in shelters. The sky was still clear, but everyone knew what was coming. Parents held their children. The elderly prayed to their gods. The young ones tried to be brave. In the Council fleet, Zekthor positioned his ships exactly as the humans had instructed. A defensive sphere protecting the planet. His crew looked at him with fear and doubt. But they followed orders. What else could they do? Sir, the sensor officer said. The Krell are entering the system. 300 bioships, just like the humans predicted. Zekthor watched the enemy appear on his screen. Wave after wave of organic vessels moving in perfect coordination. Unstoppable, inevitable. All ships hold formation, he ordered. Wait for my command. The Krell advanced slowly, savoring their coming victory. They had destroyed 50 systems. This would be 51. Just another conquest. Just another easy kill. They had no idea what was waiting in the shadows. They had never fought humans before. They did not know what 12,000 years of warfare had taught Earth. They did not know that sometimes the most dangerous enemy is the one you never see coming. In darkness, 200 warships powered up their weapons. The silence was about to break. The Krell bioships moved through space like a living tide. 300 vessels, each one the size of a skyscraper, their organic hulls pulsing with bioluminescent patterns. They had destroyed 50 systems before this one. Zarathos would be no different. Commander Zekthor watched them approach on his viewscreen. The Council fleet held their defensive sphere around the planet, but he knew it would not matter. 140 ships against 300. Simple mathematics. They were going to lose. All vessels, prepare to engage, he ordered, trying to keep the despair from his voice. The Krell swarm accelerated. Their bioweapons began to glow, charging for the first strike. On Zarathos below, 6 billion civilians waited in terror. Then the stars exploded with light. 200 warships materialized simultaneously, appearing in a perfect sphere around the Krell formation. One moment there was empty space. The next moment Earth's entire fleet surrounded the enemy, their weapons already hot and ready. Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UEDS Thunderstrike, his face calm as he gave the only order that mattered. Fire. The battle erupted with violence that shocked the galaxy. Captain Lisa Brennan's fighters launched from 6 carriers at once. 200 small craft burst into space, moving faster than anything the Krell had ever seen. They flew in perfect formation, their human pilots executing maneuvers that seemed impossible. All fighters focus on command ships, Lisa ordered over the communication net. Hit them hard, hit them fast. Her fighter screamed toward the largest Krell command vessel. Behind her, Danny Rodriguez called out targets. The fighter's railgun spun up and Lisa squeezed the trigger. Tungsten rounds, each one accelerated to incredible speed, tore into the Krell bioship. The organic armor, designed to absorb energy weapons, meant nothing against kinetic force. The rounds punched through like paper, tearing massive holes in the hull. Direct hit, Danny shouted. Their hull is breaching. Around them, 200 fighters unleashed their weapons on the 3 command ships. Thousands of railgun rounds streamed through space, a wall of metal death. The Krell command vessels tried to return fire, but the human fighters were too fast, too agile. They danced between the bioweapons, striking and dodging with practiced precision. In 60 seconds, all 3 command ships were destroyed. Their organic hulls split open, venting atmosphere and biological matter into the void. The Krell swarm suddenly lost coordination, their hive mind severed. Command ships down, Lisa reported, moving to secondary targets. On the UEDS Valiant, Captain Ryan Carter commanded his destroyer group with cold efficiency. 20 destroyers moved in synchronized formation, their main railguns tracking targets. All ships fire on my mark, Ryan ordered. 3, 2, 1 mark, the destroyers fired simultaneously. Their massive railguns, far larger than the fighter versions, launched tungsten rounds the size of cars. The rounds traveled at a significant fraction of light speed, carrying devastating kinetic energy. The Krell bioships exploded on impact, not burned or melted, but literally torn apart by raw force. Pieces of organic hull scattered in all directions. 1 shot, 1 kill. The math was simple and brutal. Reload and acquire new targets, Ryan commanded. Keep firing. Do not give them time to adapt. The destroyers moved through the battle space like sharks, their railguns firing continuously. Every shot hit. Every hit killed. The Krell had never faced weapons like this. The regenerating armor was useless. Their numbers meant nothing against this kind of precision. Commander Greg Watson sat at the electronic warfare station, his fingers moving across multiple screens. The moment the fleet had appeared, he had activated the jamming systems. Powerful electromagnetic pulses flooded the battle space, disrupting the Krell's biological communications. Jamming is working, he reported. Their hive mind is fragmented. They cannot coordinate. Without coordination, the Krell swarm fell apart. Ships collided with each other. Some fired at their own vessels by mistake. Others simply drifted, confused and leaderless. The perfect machine of destruction became a mob of panicked animals. Increased jamming frequency, Morrison ordered. Keep them blind. The UED's Thunderstrike itself was a monster of war. The massive dreadnought positioned itself between the Krell and Zarathos, its main cannon charging. The magnetic accelerator was the largest weapon humanity had ever built. It could fire projectiles at velocities that defied belief. Main cannon ready, the weapons officer reported. Fire, Morrison said. The cannon unleashed its fury. A tungsten round the size of a bus launched from the Thunderstrike, crossing the distance to the Krell formation in less than a second. When it hit, 6 bioships exploded from the impact and shockwave. The round passed through them like they were not there and kept going, destroying 3 more ships before finally losing momentum. Reload, Morrison ordered. Fire again. The main cannon fired every 30 seconds. Each shot carved a path of destruction through the Krell swarm. Morrison watched the tactical display with satisfaction. The enemy formation was collapsing. They had no answer to human weapons. Commander Amy Patterson's stealth ships appeared behind the Krell rearguard, their presence still undetected until they opened fire. At point-blank range, their railguns were absolutely devastating. Krell ships exploded before they even knew they were under attack. Ghost Squadron reporting, Amy said calmly. Rear targets eliminated, moving to flank positions. Her ships vanished again, their stealth systems making them invisible. They reappeared on the Krell's left flank, fired another devastating salvo, then disappeared once more. The Krell could not fight what they could not see. Lieutenant Danny Rodriguez's planted beacons activated, feeding real-time targeting data to every human ship. The targeting computers used this data to coordinate fire, ensuring no 2 ships wasted ammunition on the same target. It was efficient, deadly, and utterly ruthless. Sergeant Megan Walsh triggered her planted explosives. Along the Krell supply routes, massive detonations cut off any hope of reinforcement. The swarm was isolated, trapped in a killing field with no escape. Dr. Nicole Spencer watched from the science station as her weapons performed beyond expectations. The electromagnetic pulse bombs deployed by several ships, detonating in clusters throughout the Krell formation. The pulses scrambled biological neural networks, causing bioships to shut down like their brains had stopped working. Pulse weapons are extremely effective, she reported. Target nervous systems are completely disrupted. They are dead in space. The Council fleet watched in stunned silence. Commander Zekthor could not believe what he was seeing. The humans had appeared from nowhere and were systematically destroying the Krell swarm, not just defeating them, obliterating them. Should we engage? His weapons officer asked. No, Zekthor said quietly. Stay in formation. Do not interfere, just watch. The battle was unlike anything the Council had ever witnessed. There were no long exchanges of fire, no gradual wearing down of defenses. The humans struck with overwhelming precision and violence. Each shot counted. Each movement had purpose. It was not combat. It was execution. The Krell tried to adapt. Some bioships attempted to swarm the human fighters, using their numbers to overwhelm. But Lisa Brennan's pilots were ready. They broke formation, each fighter becoming an individual predator. They flew through the swarm at impossible speeds, their railguns never stopping. One Krell bioship tried to ram Lisa's fighter. She pulled a maneuver that should have torn her ship apart, flipping end over end while maintaining fire. The bioship missed. Her rounds did not. It exploded behind her as she accelerated away. That is how you do it, she shouted to her squadron. They are big and slow. We are small and fast. Use that. Other Krell ships tried to focus fire on the destroyers. Ryan Carter's response was simple. His ships moved in a defensive pattern, covering each other while maintaining constant fire. When Krell weapons struck their hulls, the kinetic shields absorbed the impact. The destroyers kept firing. Hull integrity at 95%, Ryan's officer reported. Minor damage. Nothing critical. Keep firing, Ryan ordered. We can take hits all day. They cannot. The Krell bioships began to retreat, their swarm instinct finally recognizing the danger. But there was nowhere to go. Earth's fleet had surrounded them completely. Every direction led to more human ships, more railguns, more death. Some Krell tried to escape by diving toward the planet. Colonel Brandon Hughes had been waiting for this. His Marine boarding teams launched in assault shuttles, intercepting the fleeing bioships. The shuttles attached to hulls and Marines cut their way inside with plasma torches. Boarding teams engaged, Brandon reported. We are inside multiple vessels. The Marines fought through organic corridors, their weapons cutting down Krell defenders. The close-quarters combat was brutal but brief. The Krell were not prepared for humans in their ships. Within minutes, boarding teams secured 3 bioships intact. Vessels captured, Brandon reported. The science teams can study them now. Admiral Morrison watched the battle unfold with grim satisfaction. The Krell swarm, which had destroyed 50 systems, was being wiped out in less than 6 hours. 280 bioships destroyed, 20 captured or disabled. The remaining Krell fled in all directions, their hive mind broadcasting pure terror. "Let them run," Morrison ordered. "Broadcast their fear. Let every Krell in the galaxy know what happened here." Commander Greg Watson opened the communication channels, allowing the Krell's distress signals to transmit freely. Throughout the galaxy, the Krell hive mind received the message. They had met something they could not defeat, something that killed them easily, something called humanity. The battle ended. Space around Zarathos was filled with debris from Krell bioships. Not one human vessel had been destroyed. Minor damage on a dozen ships. 3 fighters lost to lucky hits. 12 personnel casualties. That was all. Commander Zekthor stared at his view screen in disbelief. The Krell swarm that should have destroyed his fleet and killed 6 billion civilians was gone. Destroyed in 6 hours by a fleet that appeared from nowhere. "Open a channel to the human flagship," he ordered, his voice shaking. Admiral Morrison's face appeared on the screen. He looked calm, like the battle had been routine. "Commander Zekthor," Morrison said, "the immediate threat has been eliminated. Earth's fleet will remain in this sector until we have confirmed all Krell forces are driven back." "How?" Zekthor asked. "How did you do this?" Morrison was quiet for a moment. "The Council once rejected Earth. You said we were too violent, too primitive, too focused on weapons and war. You were right about one thing. We are focused on war. We have been fighting each other for 12,000 years. We learned things in that time. Hard lessons, painful lessons. Today, those lessons saved your people." "I do not know what to say," Zekthor admitted. "Say nothing," Morrison replied. "Just remember that when you needed help, humanity answered. Not with words, with action." The transmission ended. Morrison turned to his crew. They looked tired but proud. They had done what they came to do. They had saved billions of lives, and they had shown the galaxy what Earth was capable of. "All ships maintain defensive positions," Morrison ordered. "Stay alert. This is not over yet." But everyone knew the real battle was finished. The Krell would not return. Not here, not ever. The Emergency Council session was unlike any in the 10,000 years of galactic history. Every member species had representatives present. But for the first time, they were not the ones speaking. They were listening. Admiral Jake Morrison stood in the center of the Grand Chamber, his uniform still marked with dirt from the battle. Around him, holographic displays showed the tactical breakdown of the fight. 6 hours, 200 human ships, 300 Krell bioships destroyed. The numbers spoke clearly. Council leader Mertana spoke first, her silver eyes reflecting something that looked like shame. "Admiral Morrison, on behalf of the Galactic Council, I extend our deepest gratitude. You saved 6 billion lives on Zarathos. You destroyed a threat that has plagued us for 3 years. We are in your debt." Morrison nodded but said nothing. The silence stretched uncomfortably. "We also wish to apologize," Mertana continued, her voice softer. 15 years ago, when Earth applied for membership, we rejected you. We called your people too violent, too primitive, too focused on weapons and military strength. We were wrong." "Yes," Morrison said simply. "You were." The bluntness shocked the council members. They were used to diplomatic language, careful words, polite deflection. Morrison offered none of that. "We rejected you because we did not understand," Mertana said. "We thought our way was better. Peace through diplomacy. Cooperation through trade. We believed weapons and war were signs of barbarism. And now?" Morrison asked. "Now we understand that peace exists only when someone is strong enough to defend it," Mertana admitted. "Your weapons are not barbaric. They are necessary. Your military focus is not primitive. It is what allowed you to do what we could not." Commander Zekthor stepped forward. "The Krell destroyed 50 of our systems because we were not prepared for real war. We had energy weapons that could not penetrate their armor. We had tactics that relied on enemy cooperation. We had a military that had not fought a real battle in 3,000 years. You showed us the difference between a defense force and a war machine. Morrison looked around the chamber at the alien faces. Some showed respect. Others showed fear. All of them showed understanding. Earth did not come here for your thanks, Morrison said. We came because when someone calls for help, you answer. That is what humans do. But there are things you need to understand about Earth and humanity going forward. The council waited, knowing this moment would define their future relationship. First, Morrison said, Earth will not ask for permission to defend ourselves or our interests. We will not seek council approval for our military decisions. You rejected us once. You do not get to control us now. Some council members shifted uncomfortably, but no one objected. Second, Morrison continued, Earth offers a mutual defense alliance. We will help protect council space from the Krell or any other threat. In return, you will share technology, resources, and information. This is cooperation between equals, not charity from the strong to the weak. We accept, Mertana said immediately. Third, Morrison said, Earth's military will remain in this sector until the Krell threat is completely eliminated. We will train your forces in real combat tactics. We will share our weapons technology. We will teach you what 12,000 years of warfare taught us. But you will do things our way. No arguments. No debates. If you want to survive, you follow our lead. The council members looked at each other. They were proud species, advanced civilizations with 10,000 years of history. But they had just watched humans destroy in 6 hours what they could not stop in 3 years. Pride was a luxury they could no longer afford. We accept all your terms, Mertana said. Earth has earned the right to demand them. Morrison nodded. Then we have an agreement. President Morgan will send formal diplomatic teams. But the military cooperation starts now. Captain Carter. Ryan Carter stepped forward, carrying data files. These contain tactical analysis, training programs, and equipment specifications. Your officers will study them and implement them immediately. We do not have time for slow adoption. Zekthor accepted the files. We will begin right away. The session ended. As Morrison left the chamber, he contacted the Thunderstrike. Captain Lisa Brennan appeared on his communicator screen. How are the captured bioships? He asked. Dr. Spencer is studying them now, Lisa replied. Early findings are interesting. The Krell technology is actually quite advanced, just completely different from anything we use. Their bioorganic systems could teach us a lot about regenerative materials. Good. Make sure the Council gets access to that research. They need to understand their enemy. On Earth, billions watched the broadcast of the Council session. President Ashley Morgan sat in the Oval Office, watching Admiral Morrison demand terms instead of begging for acceptance. She smiled. 15 years ago, Earth had asked politely to join the galactic community. Today, the galaxy was asking to join Earth's defensive network. Ma'am, her chief of staff said, the polls are showing 98% approval for the military action. People are calling this humanity's coming out moment. It is more than that, Morgan said. This is the moment Earth stopped being the new kid asking for a seat at the table. Now we are building our own table. Over the next 3 weeks, Earth's presence in Council space transformed everything. Captain Ryan Carter worked directly with Council fleet commanders, teaching them coordinated tactics. The aliens were used to ships fighting independently. Ryan showed them formation flying, mutual support, and concentrated fire patterns. You are thinking like individuals, Ryan told a group of Council officers. Start thinking like a pack. One ship alone is weak. 20 ships working together are unstoppable. Commander Greg Watson set up electronic warfare training centers. Council species had never developed jamming technology. They considered interfering with communications to be rude. War is not polite, Greg explained bluntly. If you can blind your enemy, you do it. If you can confuse them, you do it. If you can make them shoot each other by accident, you definitely do it. Dr. Nicole Spencer shared Earth's weapons research with Council scientists. They were amazed by the simplicity of kinetic weapons. No energy conversion, one alien scientist said in wonder. No power drain, just mass and velocity. How did we never think of this? Because you were too focused on elegant solutions, Nicole replied. Sometimes the best weapon is a rock thrown really, really fast. Captain Lisa Brennan trained Council pilots in fighter combat. The aliens flew in straight lines and gentle curves. Lisa taught them barrel rolls, split S maneuvers, and high G turns that would have killed them if not for the advanced inertial dampeners humans had developed. You fly like you are delivering cargo, she told them. Fly like someone is trying to kill you, because they are. Colonel Brandon Hughes ran the Council's first real Marine training program. The aliens had security forces, but nothing like Earth's combat-hardened soldiers. Brandon put them through exercises that made them question their life choices. Combat is ugly, he said during one training session. It is loud, confusing, and terrifying. But if you train hard enough, if you practice until it becomes instinct, you can survive it. That is what we are doing here. Teaching you to survive. Commander Amy Patterson shared intelligence-gathering techniques. The Council had diplomats and negotiators. They had never developed a proper intelligence network. Information wins wars before the first shot is fired, Amy explained. Know your enemy. Know their strengths, their weaknesses, their plans, then use that knowledge to destroy them efficiently. The Council learned, slowly at first, then faster as they began to understand. War was not about honor or glory. It was about winning. And winning meant using every advantage, every weapon, every tactic available. The Krell tested the defenses twice more in the following months. Both times they met combined human and Council forces. Both times they were destroyed. The second battle lasted only 2 hours. The Council fleet, trained by humans and equipped with kinetic weapons, fought alongside Earth ships with deadly efficiency. After the second battle, Commander Zekthor contacted Admiral Morrison personally. We won, Zekthor said, his voice full of amazement. My ships fought alongside yours and we won. You were always capable of this, Morrison replied. You just needed someone to show you how. War is a skill like any other. It can be learned. Will your fleet stay? Zekthor asked. The Krell may return. Some ships will stay, Morrison said. Others will return to Earth. But we will maintain a permanent presence in Council space. This alliance is long-term. 6 months after the first battle, Earth and the Galactic Council signed the Mutual Defense Treaty. It was not the membership Earth had asked for 15 years ago. It was something better. A partnership of equals, built on respect earned through action. President Morgan addressed both Earth and the Council during the signing ceremony. 15 years ago, we were told we were not ready to join the galactic community, she said. Today we are not joining. We are leading. Not through conquest or intimidation, but through strength and cooperation. Earth has shown the galaxy what humanity can do. Now we will show them what we can build together. The broadcast reached every corner of Council space. On planets that had been saved from the Krell, people watched and listened. They saw Admiral Morrison standing beside Council leader Mertana. They saw human and alien officers working together. They saw what was possible when pride gave way to necessity. On the UID's Thunderstrike, Morrison stood in his ready room looking at the stars through the viewport. Captain Ryan Carter joined him. The Council is formally requesting that we establish a joint military academy, Ryan said. They want their officers trained alongside ours. Approve it, Morrison said. The more they learn, the stronger they become. The stronger they become, the safer the galaxy is. Do you think the Krell will give up? Eventually, Morrison said. They are a hive mind. They learn. Right now they are learning that attacking Council space means facing humans. That lesson will spread through their entire species. They will find easier targets. And when they do, Morrison smiled. Then we will go find them. The galaxy asked for Earth's help once. We answered. Now we will make sure no one ever needs to ask again. The treaty went into effect. Human ships patrolled alongside Council vessels. Joint training exercises became routine. Technology sharing accelerated. The galaxy that had dismissed Earth as too primitive was now learning from human military expertise. In the mess hall of the Thunderstrike, Lieutenant Danny Rodriguez sat with a group of alien officers. They were discussing tactics, comparing notes, sharing stories. A year ago, this would have been impossible. Now it was normal. How did humans become so good at war? One alien asked. Danny thought about the question. We fought each other for thousands of years. We learned hard lessons. We made mistakes and people died. Eventually, we figured out what worked. Now we use that knowledge to protect others instead of killing each other. You turned your greatest weakness into your greatest strength, the alien observed. I guess we did, Danny agreed. On Earth, children looked at the stars with new wonder. The recruitment offices for the United Earth Defense Forces were flooded with applications. Everyone wanted to be part of humanity's new role in the galaxy. Not conquerors, not merchants, protectors. Admiral Morrison never left Council space. He established Earth's first permanent military base on a moon orbiting Zerathos. The base became a symbol of the Alliance. Human and Council personnel worked side by side, training, planning, and preparing for whatever threats might come. 15 years earlier, Earth had been rejected, called too violent, too primitive, too focused on war. Today, that same focus on war had saved billions of lives. It had earned Earth a place in the galaxy not through diplomacy but through action. The Council had been wrong about humanity, but they had learned. And in learning, they had gained an ally that would stand with them against any darkness. Morrison stood on the observation deck of his base watching ships come and go. Human vessels, Council vessels, all working together, all protecting the same space. The distress call had been answered, not by diplomats or merchants, by Earth's war fleet, arriving in silence and departing in respect. The galaxy would never forget, and Earth would never stop protecting those who needed protection. The age of isolation was over. The age of cooperation had begun, and humanity stood ready to face whatever came next.